Thursday, the second day of November 2017. And earlier this afternoon, I have had to go out in my car, my handicapped adapted car, over to the NTB National Tire and Battery, repair garage on Clough Crossing Road here in town. And the reason why is because my right front tire was leaking. Is it? The problem was not that there wasn't anything stuck in the tire. It's just that the tire to tire rim seal was had come undone. Was it on on the inside. So it didn't cost me anything to take nothing. We just reseal the tire, and repump it back up to the correct pressure. Then I went to the Wendy's burger joint on New Hampshire Route 28 here in Salem. Just for the two junior cheeseburger deluxes, off the dollar menu. One of those baconator French fry with it things, and just a small diet pepper, Dr. Pepper. That soda pop. And the only other thing else that I did was just go to the Walmart, which is behind the Wendy's on New Hampshire Route 28 here in town, and I purchased another 2-liter bottle of soda pop, and purchased some food. That I purchased with it a package of sliced bologna, and I'm going to use that, with it, have it with baked beans later tonight at around 8 o'clock in the evening as my supper. Nothing fancy. And then, anyways, I do admit to some sadness about the continuing Republican Party attacks against the Americans with Disabilities Act, which was signed into law 27 years ago under, Republican President George H.W. Bush. The present Republican administration is trying to destroy the disability civil rights movement. And they're literally trying to destroy us adults and children with lifelong disabilities by destroying the Medicaid healthcare system, federal program, and of course Medicare, which is for the elderly or near elderly who have had to retire early, such as myself. And in the new Medicare program, what they want to take and do, is converted into a cash voucher program to purchase, for people like me, to purchase private healthcare, healthcare insurance. Like it or not, because I have mild autism, Asperger's, which is mild autism, and mild cerebral palsy, both from birth, I am considered to be completely uninsurable in the private health insurance marketplace. And like it or not, Medicare only pays 80% of Part B medical expenses, which is doctor visits and lab and what have you. Number two is that I found out is that Medicare does not pay for a booster shot for the diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, or whooping cough vaccine, the adult version. So next time I see my doctor, regularly scheduled to see my doctor, Dr. Christy Eganoff, MD in Derry, that for for a 6 month every 6 months, that I'm going to have to pay completely out of pocket to have the was it the diphtheria, or was it tetanus and whooping cough, was it adult, was it booster vaccine, that, and of course I gotta get my flu shot. I'm sorry I haven't gotten it yet, because and actually in a way, that well, sorry, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts here, but it is like the present Republican Party administration down in Washington, D.C. They do not want to have disabled people having health care. They do not want the elderly to have health care. They do not want poor people to have health care. They don't want they're telling me, get a job, you fucking slob. But I myself have been through the New Hampshire State Department of Vocational Rehabilitation for the Disabled 3 times since 1986. The first time, they put me in a bad placement where I was guaranteed to be workplace bullied and driven from employment. The second time, in 1995, they didn't help me at all, period. The third time, from 2003 to 2006, New Hampshire Voc Rehab took and, all they did was bounce me from one privatized social service provider to another with no progress whatsoever towards any kind of employment, which was essentially all New Hampshire Voc Rehab did was personally waste my time for absolutely nothing at all. Many of us adults who are on the upper end of the autism spectrum, Asperger's syndrome, it's like people say, what the hell's your problem? There's nothing wrong with you. You can talk, even though even though I do not socially function in the outside world really very well, if at all, being on the upper end of the autism spectrum, with it, why won't anybody hire you? You should be, and you have people tell me that I've got the 4-year engineering degree from Wentworth Institute in electronics, which should guarantee me, a foot in the door at many, whatever high-tech companies or employers there are left, around this area. But that does not work because there's a lot of ableism in the outside world, which is, of course, a form of discrimination against persons with disabilities. And there is also ageism, which is discrimination against older adults simply because they are older and have a lot of life experience. And many employers see older adults as not worth hiring because they do not want to spend the money for, the health insurance support to keep older workers on the job. That's also and they also do not want to pay older workers what they are really worth because of their knowledge and experience and having been out in the world and knowing how to take and do a job, know how to then perform, on whatever jobs that they know how to do. So these are a lot of problems, and they're not getting any better because the present, Republican Party administration down in Washington D.C. has given totally the green light for all employers to treat older workers and persons with disabilities like shit. And just simply, piss all over us older people, and simply drive us from employment, and while at the same time taking away our access to Medicare coverage, healthcare coverage, and also they're going to try to switch the Social Security safety net into a so-called market-driven, retirement accounts for the elderly, for all elderly people. Most all elderly people have no idea how to take about the stock market and how to take advantage of it, and to make money. So, and I am one of them, even though I have a 4-year engineering degree, because essentially from my own understanding, is that the stock market is totally rigged to only help the 1%ers and not 99% of all of us ordinary people, and that and that they rewrote the laws in such a way where they're going to rewrite the laws for, say, individual 401k retirement accounts in such a way that you really cannot save enough money, even when you are working, to even retire. So essentially, they're telling elderly people and people with disabilities, that go to hell and just die. I'm sorry if I was, speaking about uh, objective realities, but this is the way that a person like myself has to live. For the since I lost my last job in 2001 after the 9/11 terrorist attacks, that no one would hire me, and I had to go onto SSDI as an adult with Asperger's syndrome type autism, which is on the upper end of the autism spectrum, and also having mild cerebral palsy, which affects my legs. I had to go onto SSDI and essentially permanently leave the workforce, not because I wanted to, but because essentially society around here has forced me to retire and have denied me the right to work. These are just simply realities. Of course, I try to keep up some of my engineering skills, with drawing, doing CAD design, with electronic circuits, and going over into the on my workbench and with it tinkering. But it is not like sitting at an engineering design development lab workbench, which I was doing with my last employer, and actually working on state-of-the-art equipment. With it helping to with it design and prototype it, and transition the prototypes into with it full-scale production. Full-scale manufacturing of a product. These skills are still there, with it, but from what I have seen, with it, society does not want me to, was it, exercise these skills. Well, I'll just, was it, sign off right now, was it, anyway, was it, just telling you, was it, how it is, how I'm feeling today. Just sign off right now.